Hello everyone. I'm going to share a little bit of this personal journey. Just to give you a heads up though, it's probably the most difficult transformation you're going to go through on your journey. So what you've been through now, this purging and the, if you want to call shadow work, dark night of the soul, is a warm-up to the finale. So I all I can do is share what this body has been going through, as I've been sharing with you. If you've noticed, off and on I've been talking, as I've gone through this stage, and you get, as I've said, highs, lows. So you get ecstatic. You'll get ecstatic because of what's being revealed, where you're going, the process, the truth, really. And then you also, but remember, it's a big shock to the body-mind, because the body-mind believed it existed. This believed it was real. So the identity that you've assumed the whole time, I was born, I've got a life, I'm real, I exist, it's a big shock to the ego to know that it's actually a dream. This is the dreamt. It's like your dream. You are dreaming this. That's all. You are the one who's having the dream, though. So, what you believed is real, like this. You believed you are a real thing, flesh, and whatever, you exist and everything. But so it is a big shock to the system, as you noticed. So it's been going through, you go through, as I said, like major ecstatic highs, amazement, and then resistance from the ego immediately, because it's fear, it's dissolution, it's death, you see. So the ego then, so it's like a tennis match you watch. I've been sharing with you. Be quiet. Wow, you go through major resistance, fear, this, that, battle. It's like a tennis match. So it's been very difficult. Well, very, very difficult. Huge resistance to, because it's final surrender. It's the end of it. So it's woo. So if you think this journey has been, your awakening has been difficult, it depends, you see. Sometimes it depends on you. It depends on the end. They're all going to be different. I cannot comment, and I've noticed that as well. They're all different. And each fractal of God will experience it differently. And I've noticed, I'm watching people, or so-called people, right? Or God anyway. But each one has a different experience, and also to the degree that they become the one is different. So some will completely sever that tie, so there is no two identities. They actually cut the cord. It's like, as you say, the real death. What they experience, if you watch what I showed you, is that the world is burnt, because you realize, as the Bible said, you in hell. They experience the burning of the actual, everything's burning around them. And that's the end. The actual, it's cutting the cord to this. It's like dying, but you don't die. So yes, they actually die. Only the appearance of the body remains, and they actually are become one. That's what they call them saints. They actually are then the one God. Then you've got those that reach this oneness consciously, but they still have like a separate. They still perceive themselves as. That's what I'm saying. It is probably the most difficult transformation experience you can go through, because you get so much resistance from the physical body and the mind, the structure, because it believes it's real. And this is a mind, as you notice, I've been sharing it quite frankly with you on here and on YouTube. I've shared, some of the things I've confronted. It was like, oh my gosh. And then there's so it's like this. It's slowly getting it to, because it's like, oh wow. And then it's all exciting. Then it's, oh my gosh. So there's this back forth. There's this kind of dance going. Oh, very, very difficult. Much, you go through so much crying. Oh, shit. Exhausted, a lot of physical transformation. I don't know. There's no words to even put it in. So physical transformation happening, exhaustion, resistance. Then you're there. Then it's here. Then it's out. And it's back forth. It's like, because the mind can't understand. The mind is the problem. The mind is the one that created a separate identity with the first thought. Everything stems from mind. This mind is where the problem comes from. The mind was the one that perceived the first thought was a separation because it made a wave. It's like I said, it's like a distorted frequency when I channeled that, what it is, how you pop up. When you do that, the minute you have a thought, it distorts it's why if you can calm all the energy in the body and mind, you become one, or consciousness with the one. That's how you see that this world's not real. When you can actually get the energy, that means stopping thought. Why? Because thought emits frequency. You see, by talking and by thinking, the energy is being disrupted like this. It's sending out waves. And this is why, that's why the world appears and appears real and everything else spoken into being. You see, it disrupts the waves. That's all that's what's come to, you know. So, some days you're just like, wow, you just battle, and then you try and fight it. So then you're trying to fight yourself, the resistance. Oh, it's just I've been at points where you get so frustrated, so desperate, so angry. So it's very difficult. I'm not going to put it for this session. It's been wow. You know, you like wanna, you just wanna, and it's difficult because it's like two of you existing, because it's like I said, paradox. The knowing is the being. I'm not. This is not real. But then you see, is to get rid of this. It doesn't want to go. The thought, and it's you think you've control, but you actually don't, because as I say, you get to realize everything's God. You are the dream. Now you understand, though, that thoughts make matter. So this is how the dream works. So by thinking, you're creating. This is how the world's going on, right? And this is maybe why when you get older, you get quieter and get dementia. So you stop, so you can actually, it helps the transition, you know, of exiting, believing that you have a body. But yeah, you slow down in the creation, and then But the more the mind is busy, the more the mind thinks it's creating. This is how the game works. You're creating the Maya. You're creating, you know, you're playing in the Maya. So it's like, I'm beyond words, actually, even at the moment. So luckily, someone that's already been through it and that's come out the other side has offered to give me some guidance. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad. So there we are. So I should be getting a guru, a bit of guidance through this one, because it's like, wow, I know you've had days where it's like, okay, you just want to like, okay, you don't feel like, you know. So then you resist, and then you try and battle because the mind jumps in, and then you want to fight the mind. Oh, it's like, then you know that doesn't help either. You just gotta. It's what I'm saying. You're caught between surrendering and fight and resisting. The ego mind that keeps wanting to, you know, because it's play, keeps wanting to pop up. No, you like bugger off, you don't exist. So it's kind of like you can perceive, it's almost like you think this is like, it's kind of like being a schizophrenic, I suppose. Like there's two of you and there's only supposed to be one, go away. You're not here. But the more you try and fight it, it doesn't go away. So it's just oh, wow. You have to, you know, it's, as you say, it's God's grace. When you understand as well, now there is nothing but God here in this play. God is everything, and you are the dreamt. You are the one dreaming, perceiving through this vessel, using this vessel to have an experience. But this vessel believes now it is real, it exists, and it's trying to save itself. This one needs to go away. It does not exist. It dies. When you wake up from the dream, it's over. That's why you think you've had many past lives, because God, you've had so many dreams. It's just God's dreams. They're not your past. Oh. You think they're your past lives. They're not. They're God's dreams. But that's what I say. So, yeah, I suppose, and then it takes time, because the mind now has got to slowly accept, no, you're not real. That wasn't real. You don't have past lives. I don't know. I'm just sharing, you know. I'm just sharing the process, I suppose. Very, very, very difficult, especially when you're very driven. You're absolutely driven. I mean, because that's, you see, that's God as well. Everything's God. This is what people don't understand. There is nothing but God in the dream. This is God's dream. You think is life. Everything is God's dream. So if it's not ordained, it's not going to happen. It's another thing you also understand. It's ordained. What's going to happen is going to happen. You actually have no control, no say over it. Even the body, because you think you're doing something. Yes, the mind has matter, so you can ask. That's what's creating. But if God wants you to wake up or not wake up, or whatever it's going to happen is going to happen. It's already, because I mean, I suppose it's already planned. This dream, there's no say time. So, who is going to, maybe, as I say, it's already a done thing. You're just unaware of it because the past, present, and future all exists now. You just don't know. You don't, obviously, this part of the dream you don't remember. Whatever. It's all a dream. You see, this is in the Maya we're talking about. In the Maya, the past, present, and future exist now. But in actual fact, you are God having a dream. None of this it's just a dream. Anyway. So, you see, as I said, unity consciousness, those who are, as I did say a couple of months, I saw this coming, it's happening. And you'll see them are waking up. They are reaching this, but at different levels. Some are being completely freed, severed from the cycle, like I shared, like Amanda Mayamar was, and others, where they've completely only have that one consciousness left. There's no perception of another. That makes it so much easier. Otherwise, you think you're going crazy. I'm like, this is not funny. This is like, wow, because you're not, and then you're trying to, I think the trying, as I say. But it's just innate. You kind of feel like you're in a battle, I suppose, And when you really realize, you understand, you are just, it's like me. I'm having a dream. The thing that I'm dreaming has no freaking control, actually. I'm the dreamer. I'm going to decide how the dream goes. I'm creating the dream, you see. So in actual fact, you really don't have any control. You think you do. So yeah, it's been surrender, then it resist and fight, then surrender. Well, all I can say is it's extremely difficult transformation to undergo so far. And you've been through many phases. I don't know about everybody else, but I've been, you've all have on this awakening journey. You've gone through levels and phases. As I said, this is the crown chakra, the Christ consciousness returning to earth. This is the I am. And it's going, and it's going to be now. That's it. This is the dream. This is what God is ordaining, and what, so that's going to happen. So there we are. They will walk on earth again. Those that know I am, they know they're God. So, but as I say, different timelines, different desires, they will go off as well in the dream. So I don't want to go into that. It's not. All I was just sharing is this process is extremely, you get to parts where you just want to give up because you're like, then you get angry, you get upset, you go through so much. A lot. It's a lot. I think initially you just say, wow. But then I say it's going to falter through. Now the mind or the brain, the physical thing, this structure has to accept the reality. And it's a big shock to the system. Hey, it's huge. It's a huge transformation to undergo for the mind, body, mind, the ego that actually believes it's a real thing. And and you're so vested in this thing. Oh, I did this. No, you did fuck all, actually. God did everything. You actually, you don't know. So it's a big, and the ego wants to, take claim and fame, but it's only God. Don't even know where to begin on this subject, as I say. I've had so much. I'm so exhausted at the moment. I was resting today. I'm like, wow. But you see, that's another thing. It comes from within. The desire to wake up or not is by God as well. It's not actually you. If God decides, okay, it's time now for you to, in this Maya, whatever, it's your, way, that's it. Because it's God's dream. Everything going on here. And as I said, it's the fire energy, which I told you 10 months ago as well. So I noticed as well in the vessel that it's transmitting the fire energy. It's just, which makes sense as well, because it is then like the phoenix. You see, the ego is burnt, it's sacrificed. You sacrifice the false to the fire, it consumes it. This is what they say. This is where people got the whole idea of hell was into the light, you pop out. So you are then, the false is being dissolved. This is the process you're going through. The false, the two, that thinks it's existing, the real, this I, a separation, the duality, where you've got two, I am and God. No, there's God. That's the way it's got. That one has got to be completely. So maybe that's where that phoenix symbol arises from, because those that have the cord completely severed. If you listen to Mandamaya's thing when you saw that, and they all opened up, and it actually, as like what's the name says as well. It's like when I don't know if you've been through a near-death experience, you understand what it's like. So what you think when you experience a death is kind of what you will go through, but not. But then, I don't want to speculate, because I say I can't speculate, because it's God's dream, and everything is going to be different for whatever is determined. Who's going to have what experience and who's not, and whatever. I don't even know. I don't want to go there. I have seen things, but I said it's not for me to disclose, which makes sense. But I don't want to go into any more detail than that. This is not going to be. So I have, seen stuff about, as I say, in the Maya, the play, like I have told you. It was interesting, interesting to me as well, because in this process now, that none of these lives existed in past lives and any of this nonsense. And this is all just this thing. This is the whole idea that I have a life, I'm anything. No, poof, gone. This is it. This thing needs to go away completely. Okay, but then, you see, what you still see is a manifestation of you still have what you're perceiving still is a body and a thing. This is so confusing, as I say. It's a lot. It's not because hang on a second, the true you doesn't have a form, and that is you there. Now you understand that. But here you see, when you're still perceiving this. That's where, as I say, when you're in that phase, it's very, because like, I don't want to go there. It's been it's been not fun. Let me tell you, it has not been fun, on the body or on anything, because your drive is so. I can only talk for self. The love and devotion you have is for the one, and that's it. That's all that matters, is the one. Nothing else. That drive is like that, and you are completely surrendered to God 100%. Everything. This doesn't exist anywhere. And so you're not the here. You realize you're actually not here, and this is what I say. It's our mind fun. So you realize you're not actually here. That's the illusion. Anyway, never mind. So it's letting go of the fear of what's going to happen to the body, or any worry about the body. It's a very difficult process. You go through so many turmoils and emotional, because this thing, as I say, hasn't completely dissolved, as you notice, yet. So, yeah, it's difficult. Well, anyway, there we are. So lots of meditating, basically. It depends, you see, because as I'm saying, God is the one who is in control. When you realize you don't actually exist, you are dreamt by God. God is completely in control. And you desperately, are driven to want to be, say that's that you to be one again, to be one with, not to be any separation from God, right? To be united, not to be divided. That is there, but it's up to God as well. And then you've got this thing, as I say, you just, well, all I can say is it's, well, love and compassion absolutely goes out for any those, will go through this experience. Everyone's going to anyway, in the end. Everyone does. It's a cycle, I presume. So sad. Good. Hello. This thing knows nothing. That's what I say. If you think this thing does, this is just a dreamed, apparition, really. But it's, you understand. So you can understand how the mind, this is how they play the game. The mind, the body mind, the mind is the problem. The mind creates the Maya. The mind is the Maya. That thought. So when you think, so if you can sever all thought, lovely, poof, everything will just, that's why I said you will see clarity too. Anyway. But as I say, it's also not up to you, you see. You can ask. It's such a... You've got to play your role as well to a certain extent, I presume. Whatever. You guided. But then you realize it was never you anyway. You see? There's a lot of paradoxes here. There's a lot. And you can understand how much of a thing it is for the mind. Phew. Talk about a mind F. This is the classic mind. Now bugger off, you don't exist. Get lost, Well, it's ego. And it's tormented. It's it's funny. It's fun. Fun. So all I can say is, fun is being had. At some days you're just beyond it. You're just like, you just think, oh no. It's like, it gets very bad. You can have very bad days. You can have very good days. You can be exhausted. You can be physically as well. Whew. I don't know. You're there for the ride, and you just got to trust God. So the resistance is when you understand that now you want to resist because you want to, having fun. Today I just thought, I just haven't got the energy to, So I'm just letting it go, also suppose slowly. And then having more of a normal afternoon. In the morning I was pretty much, I think I was so tired yesterday, I was exhausted. The morning I kind of, I had no mind going and just trying to, I suppose, allow the dissolving of this whole, the mind-body concept and its beliefs and its stories and its everything. Well, that I thought is the problem, you see. Anyway, there we are. We shall see. I have seen some, as I say, but everyone knows what's happening here because the Bible talked about it as well. So the new earth, this is part of the new dream of God's. New heaven, the new earth. And God is going to use, because you're all playing a part in God's dream. That's it. Everything that's going on is. Anyway, and that's how they want to comment. I just like, for me, it's just like what's going on out there. I don't know why people worry, because what's going on out there, people don't, they think there's others in control. No, really, there's only God. This is God's dream. God's in complete control. But they're allowing those who are going to go towards let them play out, the more opposite direction, they're playing out. And they will go off in that direction, I suppose. As I said, Revelations, the division, and then there'll be poof, and then there'll be the new and the old, whatever. They will split off, as everyone talks about. Doesn't matter which version you're looking at. The light workers talk about it. The solar flash. The Bible talks about the rapture. But we will have a split. That's it. But I came to the conclusion that it's all ordained already. It's already, it's destined to be, it's going to happen. As long as you understand you don't exist. What you're worrying about is what's going to happen to me, my life, my body, because it's a very real experience. It's all been created by the mind, actually. That's what I say, thoughts. So obviously you do, you see. Because you're experiencing, it's like, no, this is real, very real. Like, no, it's not. But yeah, there we are. So you obviously, all you're worried about is this life, is this body. Anyway, whatever. But the funny thing is, you're not even here. You're not even in the body. You know what I mean? You're the dreamer. It's like anyone trying to say, how can they be, here's a simple thing. When you're dreaming a dream, right? Everything in the dream is your dream. The world, the people, the story, it was you creating everything, right? So, now, this is how you can get the concept of where the ego comes from. Now imagine, the person in your dream thinks it's real. It's alive, it's got a life. No, it hasn't got any life in anything. It's completely a dream. As soon as you wake up, this is what happens when you die. The dream's over. Poof. Oh, okay, there we are. There's your dying experience. You see, the dream is over. Comes to an end. So you can't have two people dreaming. See, so you, when you're dreaming, no one else is perceiving your dream except you, because you are the one who's dreaming it, right? So what you perceive as your life is actually God witnessing or experiencing your life. You are really God experiencing this life. Not as I am the body, this is me, it's my life. No. This is God's life. God is the one having the experience, and there's no other. This is the confusion, you see, where this I thought came in to try and experience not being God. So to experience that, you created a belief: I am this. I'm another entity. This is where the duality came from. Now, to dissolve that entity, which is you've played it for I don't know how long, is not an easy thing, because the thing thinks, no, I'm not going to die. I want to. It's all about saving me, but you don't exist. You see the paradox. You're trying to save this. Your life, it doesn't exist. Are you having fun? Let me tell you. It's fun. Yeah, it's not easy. Oh, that's an understatement. It's an understatement but it's probably, we've been through some difficult transformations on this journey, on this awakening journey, on this, if you want to call, shadow work, dark night of the soul, however you want to call it, doesn't matter, transformation from, going up. This is probably the most difficult step I have encountered. This body has encountered. Wow, is this thing? Because it keeps popping up, the thought, and also you don't know, because it's God. Well, okay, well, maybe God still wants you to play it, but has a part, which today I must say I did have some things, because things were popping up, but now you're in the middle of this journey, right? And stuff was popping up, and I'm like, no, go away. I'm not listening to the ego stories, because it's stories. You don't have any lives. This is all nonsense. It's all just fabricated. So you're trying to get rid of the fabrication, but it won't go away. Then I went, okay, well, obviously God's kind of wants it to go first, It's obviously, like any shadow work, any clearing, once if God's, if something's coming up because there's something there, but then you're like, okay, now you don't want to give it attention because it's Maya. You don't exist. This ego, and it believes it's got a life and its story. It doesn't exist. This is the thing. So you're resisting now the normal healing and clearing, because that's a lot of bollocks. So go away. You don't exist. But it doesn't want to go away. So eventually today I thought, okay, so that's why I'm saying it's very difficult, because when you understand it's God, this is God. You're just resisting yourself. You're resisting God. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So God's going to do what God's going to do. You can surrender the body, everything to God. And then just, go with it and see what happens. That's all you can do, surrender. Be willingly to surrender everything. And you're driven from the inside like anything. My only love is for God. That is it. That is it. It's like, this is like a one-pointed, like, that thing is, there we are. So, because that is all that exists. That is you, that's self. So it's painful. It's a painful journey. Very painful. Very confusing. Can be very confusing because of the ego, because of the I, the identity, the color. It just gets You were supposed to say it's difficult, huh? So luckily, someone popped up that's been through this and has offered to, I don't know, I'm waiting to see if they can email me. Send me an email, said they're happy to, need some guidance. I'm like, wow, I'd appreciate that so much because they've been through this. So it depends, you see. Like me, see, some of them have seen this everything and realized that, boof, and they had this a massive awakening or like whatever. I was shown all this stuff and I'm like, wow, wow, wow. But then, then the fear or the things like, no, because you don't understand everything yet. There's resistance from the ego. But no, I can't leave everyone because you see, the knowing, you can been shown something, but it's got to be a being. Okay, I understand they don't exist. I'm panicking about saving people that aren't real. You know what I mean? There's nothing real here and you don't really have any control. I said, there's a lot of like this because as I'm saying, it's a complete shift, complete paradigm shift. It's like everything you thought was real and who you were is gone out the window. See, it's not something easy. So depending on the experience and how it happens to you, so then you'll get, okay, great, like you saw, then be like, no, I just can't just, Then you realized because you didn't quite, as I say, cognize the fact that, okay, yes, you were shown this, but you didn't cognize actually they're not real because in your experience, people are very real. You know what I mean? Yeah, very. Anyway, there we are. So I suppose it all depends on the resistance, the ego, the experience, how it's given, how it's shown, how it happens to you, how much resistance for anything. How much shadow there is to overcome, I really don't know. You cannot talk because only God does. There's only the one that, that's in control of all. There we are, playing all, actually. So think about it. If you're having a dream, the things in your dream have no control whatsoever. Now you understand. If you think you got any control about what's going on out there, even though I must admit, the mind is making matter. Matter is making the Maya, I should say. The thoughts are creating it. So yes, now you've learned in the Maya, this is part of the change. You watch your thoughts, change your thoughts, or do healing and clearing, or release things, beliefs and things. It will change in the Maya. That's all. So that's what's happening in the Maya. The changes now that you are understanding that your thoughts are creating the matter in the Maya. Now the people are, that's becoming obvious in science even. But it's still a Maya. But it's just, this is God's dream. And so there we are. What do you got to say? You've got no say in it, actually. So there we are. Well, it's very, you'll see the experiences and turmoils you'll go through. The love you have it's like, it is. I suppose it's painful. So maybe that's what it's like. It's coming to terms with the death, in a way. I don't know. I just can't, begin to. Some it'll be easy, some it won't. Depends on the severing, and depends on the path. Depends on so much. It depends on that dream, on that so-called character that God's created. You are character. So depending on that character, the path, and what God, there we are. Anyway, wow. So there we are. Let's see. I might do a meditation later. I felt guided to do a meditation to send love out to those. But, watching all the nonsense going on out there, it doesn't resonate with you when you understand the reality. Is that this is God's dream. You've got no control over it. What's going to happen is going to happen. So half these things you're seeing going on out there, people are saying others are doing it, but that's also a choice. That's it, they're going to. This is it, they're going to spit off, So it's a choice as well on what you focus on to an extent. Are you focusing on the light, on love, on darkness, or not? What do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just like, wow. That's why I say it's a lot, eh? All you can just do whatever. And all I have is surrendered everything, absolutely to God. Yeah, the body, the mind, you have the lot. Its loyalty is to God and God alone. That is it. That is it. But then, you realize actually you think you're doing, but you actually don't have any really control. It's God's life. God's living this. God's creating this. So if I think I'm doing something, it's like actually laughable. Because you think, so even that, you're like, oh, the whole thing is like, wow, okay. So even the resistance and oh man, it's God's resistance. Yeah, I suppose, I don't know. It's your time to wake up at your time or not, I don't know. As I say, in a way, yeah, that the real self, yes, does know everything. And the real self will have it, whatever this body's going to experience and go through, and when it's going to, and how long, it's up to the real self, God. That's it, the one. There we are. So, yeah, well, it's a lot. You go through. It's a lot to try and understand as well. Because then you're like, it's a lot of, you'll have a lot, as you saw, paradoxes, confusion, because that's the mind again. See, as soon as the mind gets involved, there you go. It starts to think, well, there we are, it's like, well, and it's like, no, but that, the whole, if you could get, wow. If you ever thought mind was a problem, and you're like, no, it'd be nice to have never, then you can understand the blessing of having thoughts severed for good. That is a blessing. Oh my gosh, that is the best blessing you could ever be given, is having your thoughts, I suppose, completely severed. No thought. There's no I thoughts. There's no thoughts. That is gone for good. And somehow, some do get that. They're released completely of that. That's like, oh, all resistance is gone. Because that is how the character creates. You see. So as long as you still have thought, you still have that thing still, not completely severed. And I don't know, because God's going to have a different purpose for each body in this, whatever he's in the grand play. You know what I also saw interesting? Men that wake up, that perceive the one consciousness, the I, that go through this, the whole thing, right? Become the one, or whether you want to call samadhi, however you want to name it, it's irrelevant, right? This is where we're going now. This is the big awakening, right? So refer to God or the energy as the whole, as she, her energy, feminine, more as a feminine. Guess what? All women that talk about God, the one, is always on. You see, isn't it interesting? It's a he, Father. And the ancient one, I was saying. So you perceive it as the ancient one, as the he, as a masculine, as my father, as fatherly, as love. That's how, even look at some of those people that describe, that's how they perceive. It depends on the gender, I noticed. So, yeah. So those who perceive the one, who are male, perceive it more as a feminine energy. For me, I perceive it as a fatherly energy. This body perceives it, that I'm saying. There's no I. This is a joke. This is what you could. This is how see, the paradox is difficult, how to get rid of it. Because here the body remains and the character remains, but you're trying to get rid of what remains. As I'm saying, it's like, why, wait, ain't you? It depends, I know. Also, I suppose it depends on resistance. There were some things that this, obviously, which you see, because I was like, no. Oh, well, I was having fun. And then I just thought, oh, what the hell? Let me just see. There must be something there that obviously, that needs to be. And it was related to, I'm not going to go into details, but it was related to the last Maya, the last end of times, I actually channeled that story. Interesting. It was related to that and other things. And now, anyway. So there were things that had to, yeah. So today I did a bit of releasing and clearing again. So you just got to absolutely surrender. It's very difficult for the ego. I'm saying, I don't think it's a quick, I don't know, I'm not even going to comment, because some people it's like 1, 2, 3 flying, depending on what happens and how, and then others it depends. I mean, I really, as I say, it's all ordained by God anyway. Wait, sorry. Oh. and what you're going to perceive it, and what I don't know, or the dissolving of the ego, the complete dissolution of it. I mean, that's the dream, because then you're freed completely, you know. Some are completely severed from this, and others aren't, because also that's God's dream. What have you got to say? So with God thinks, okay, no, I'm gonna give you the Christ consciousness, but you're gonna have other lives still, because it's God's eternal dream, actually. Anyway, it's all going on. Oh, I don't want to go there. It's like, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna go. You go through many confusions, paradoxes. My battery's flat again. Sorry. I'm sitting having a cup of tea. I haven't been out again today. It's absolute exhaustion. Oh, I've been absolutely exhausted. Oh, I'm going through here a lot of exhaustion. But that's it, the body. There's a lot, because there's a lot going on. And I don't even begin to go there physically, in all aspects, you know what I mean? Very difficult. All I can just say. Anyway, this experience that this body's having, I can't talk for others, and I've shared them. You see, I've been sharing now videos. These are people that are getting different stages of this non-duality, the one consciousness, you know. Because you see, it's God, and God is all. It's all His characters in the play. So they're all going to have different attributes and different parts of the puzzle. They all make up a whole. They make up the whole. This is why one, the whole. But we're going to perceiving the self as a one again, not two. I and God. No, this is the thing. That I is going. And is it fun? Woo. So there we are. Okay. And the I is the one that thinks. That's all thought. The thought is as I explained in that video on YouTube, the thought is part of the what makes the, I don't know, Maya, the dream, the character. So the character can create and manifest and whatever. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, there we are. It's difficult. I've had some, as I say, up and down, very painful, very lonely, very sad, I've been an inward, completely isolation for, I don't know, when did I start this? It's about, I can't remember actually. I think it was I started about the 12th of May. I think. I don't remember. So there we are. So I suppose it's a process, because the mind then also needs to grasp the fact that, and it's got to change it. It doesn't exist, or, whatever. You know what I mean? When all the thought, whatever. I can't say. All right. There we are. It's God's play. God's in control, in complete control anyway. Absolutely, huh? Always has. That's you. It's your dream. You're the one who's actually having this dream, perceiving it. You just think. You think this is the one that's perceiving it and having the experience. No, God is. That's where the confusion is, whatever. The I was created. I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. I'm just like so. All right, lovelies. So it's been fighting a lot, pushing up all kinds of stuff. I think there's some more. I did some clearing today. It's like, okay, there's obviously some more stuff that needs to come out there, because you suppose, you see, once it's severed, then whatever remains in the, I didn't want to speculate either. I'm just like, I'm over it. I don't even want to try and guess this and that and whatever. I'm like, just past that one, not now. All right, we'll see what happens. So I don't want to even go there. Just go with it and see, and allow. It's God's design, God's wish, God's dream, God's everything, and that's it. As I'm saying, this is just the dreamed. It's like you having a dream. Who's ever in your dream, this is exactly who you think you are. You are the character in your own dream. You are, never mind. I didn't want to try and go there. I say, when your time comes, you'll get through this one. You can be like, eh. As I say, I think it's the mind, you see, the ego, it's that identity, that false identity is like, what? Yeah, as I say, quite a process. It's quite a process. Wow. All right, lovely people. So I'm thinking about doing a video later just to send love out. I've just been, just because I don't know what's going on out there. I haven't a clue. I did get a brief glimpse of one or two. Someone shared here, people that follow me on here shared posts about some fire, Canada, all over. But I channeled this. Go look on my YouTube channel 10 months ago. There's a warning under the live videos. I did a live on YouTube. And there's a picture of like a shaman 10 months ago. And I told you the fire energy, about fires and stuff. But this is also, people think it's other people. It's God. This is God's play. The whole thing is, the Maya is God's dream. God's in complete control. So you doing whatever is not going to, you know what I mean? You're going to do whatever you're meant to do and not meant to do, and that's it. And what's going to happen is going to happen, There we are. And I did also say this about a month or so ago. Remember, I said fire energy is now come up. It's being... go look down my videos. I told you. About a month ago or something, just over a month ago, about the beginning of May or something, I said the fire energy is coming up to be transmuted. Wherever there's out of balance, too much fire energy to be released. And the fire energy is that passion, that anger, that, that emotional, that's coming, that's being released, transmuted or whatever on the planet. And I've noticed it as well in myself. Woo, fire energy, wow. So the fire energy is, it's as within, so without. It's being transmuted or whatever is going on within the vessels. This is why it's going on the outside. I have a lot of fire energy in the body. You see? So this is why, and people are saying, oh, there's fires everywhere, but yeah, there we are. That's why are you surprised? Do you know what I mean? As within, so without. And I did warn people, but this also was another thing I came to, the body, came to realize as well. Yeah. Because, see, back before, we didn't realize that our thoughts created it. So if we allow the shadow to tell us, oh, this and that, da-da-da-da, no, you see. No. You don't have to accept that vision or that whatever's shown to you is shadow. You don't have to accept it. See, back then, part of this story of the Maya was this. You can go look at all the things anyway. So, all these things were being coming through the body, and I was sharing them, but also not understanding. You see, you don't have to accept it, what you are seeing. You don't have to create what you are shown. Because shadow also has a chance to say, oh, look there. You can say, no, you didn't realize you manifest. No, I'm not accepting that. That timeline or that vision, I'm creating heaven on earth or creating paradise, which I was doing, I was explaining a while ago. But I spoke about this, I think, also about a few videos ago. I talked about these prediction things when that dawned on me. Oopsie. See, that when we say believe this or see it, oh my gosh, that's I'm saying, okay, that's my reality. That's the shadow playing with you. Then you're accepting that, and you're going to now, and a whole lot of you agree with that, and there we are, you manifest it, you see. This is what was not understood back then. When these visions and things were shown, there's many times you just accepted it like this body did back then, as that's it. It's a done thing. What you're shown is going to happen, and that's it. No. Because there was more than one timeline you didn't get either, and you don't have to. Never mind. As I say, it's God's dream. There we are. You are having this dream. Amazing. So you are unharmed. Whatever happens to this body, this is your thing. You are not here. You never get hurt. You are dreaming. You are dreaming this. This is your character. Like you were dreaming about anything. You're having a dream about this guy or whatever you're dreaming, and that's it. This person is the thing, is the thing in your dream, not the real you. This is God having the experience. It's God's dream. Yes, I say a paradox, you see. And you know God, you love God. And everything has a divine plan and divine reason. So you just got to, that's why I say, I can just surrender. You surrender to God. That's it. What can you do? Nothing. Know that God is all I can say, like I said to everybody, all's perfect, all's divine, all's well. All is God. That is a known when you get to that point. All is God. God is all that is. So how can it not be? So then you can also begin to not accept, in a way. See, then it's resistant. As I say, you see the paradox? Not accept whatever you've seen as your no. All is perfect. You can choose. You can choose it and accept no. There's only heaven on earth here. There's only paradise is here. Because really, that's actually what God is, as I said, perceiving. Any other is a filter or shadow or, whatever else is through the vessel that is distorting it. It's like oh, never mind. I don't even want to get into this. This is maybe if this is part of the destiny of this vessel, because the true self God, the God self, will be the one, it's going to just be doing it anyway. It will be doing whatever God decides is going to do, share or explain or, if it's still going to be continuing on that path, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've absolutely surrendered this body to God, everything to God. God alone will use the body, that thing. That's the wish. Did you see what wish? Because, who are you to wish? It's God's anyway body. You know what I mean? See the paradox here? It's like you telling God, oh, you can do this. God's like, well, who the fuck are you trying to tell me what I can do with my own body, my own dream? You see the whole, when you catch, it's like you're like, well, yeah, actually, whatever going to be is going to be. You really, oh, wow. Never mind. But then you also know thoughts and things create. So God is you're going to do whatever God's going to drive you to do. End of story. You think you're doing it, it's not you. So, whatever the self decides this body is going to do and share, and if I'm going to be still guiding or coaching or whatever, who knows? I don't know. Have no clue. I just would like to get this process, like anybody would, like any transformation you're going through, you're looking forward to the end of it. It's like, oh my, wow, this is the most difficult transformation I've so far as a vessel experienced. This experience, you think experienced, is this? Wow. And I've got to some so desperate days where I just like, that's it, you're like, you just can't do another day of it's that painful it can be sometimes. That's how much resistance. I presume it's ego. You see, it's thought again. Well, I don't know. Whatever. Who knows? It's just a part of this transformation process. The releasing of, well, everything's dissolving. You see, everything that you thought you were, everything. I presume that's what's causing it. I don't know. I don't want to debate it. I can just say it is extremely, and there's a lot of fire energy. So if there's a lot of fire out there, I'm not surprised because there's a lot inside, and you can feel it. Wow, whew. The body's got a lot of fire energy in it. So I presume that's part of this process that we're going to go, is the transforming. You see the phoenix, that's where the phoenix comes from. The past, futures, or one really. It comes from that. It's the burning of the dissolving of into the transformation of the almost resurrection of God again, the rebirth, or whatever you want to call it. Who knows? All right. So yeah, it's very difficult because I still, as I say, it's conflicting for the mind, because now well, nothing's real. So you're not quite sure. Yeah, as I say, I didn't want to go there. I've kind of explained in videos on here the processes and the thought things that come up in your mind, and you're like, well, now what? You see, it's just the transformation process is difficult. That's why I say to being the end of it. Oh, what a pleasure! Then you're not going to have this conflict because it's just one. When you still got two, when you still got this, the dissolution or the dissolving of this is the problem. You see, very painful. Very, very. I've got to so desperate days where I'm like. Anyway, yes. We persevere because you're driven. That's God. I mean, you know what I'm saying. And I mean, you're so the drive that God instills in you is so one-pointed for God. It is. I mean, you will. That's it. You just want to be united with yourself. You don't want any separation from God. Who does? Definitely, you don't want to perceive. You're not separate. You see, this is the thing. This is part of this whole dissolution because you never were separate. This is the point. It's the dissolving of I think it's the resistance. It's whatever. I don't want to think anymore. That would be nice if that stopped completely. That would be like, wow. Because it can torment you. And that comes up and you're like, you do so well. And that just comes back and you're like, you can't believe this. Because you see. And then you, oh, wow. Yeah, it's like a... Anyway, there we are. You get to a point where you're too tired to fight. You're like, oh, whatever. Carry on. What can you do? You're just like a puppet doing like, oh, whatever. Have a fight. I'll just lie. Don't just ignore me. Protect. But it's not you see. It's like, oh, wow. You just, mind blown. Anyway, there we are. So I'm looking forward to this chat when this gentleman gets hold of me. That'll be so nice because he had the 1, 2, 3. And it's funny because when this Kundalini activation happened with me, I probably would have had that 1, 2, 3, a big bang at the same time. But in the middle of it, because I didn't have any understanding, and this is also God, you see, you think it's all planned. And nothing's like, well, just happened. Oh, you don't have any, now you understand the fact. But let's say before I understood the story, you think you had any kind of say over anything. But yeah, I was in my meditation and the last couple that my body started doing this spinning and like a spinning top. I mean, it was crazy. It was going like a rainbow. And I told you, I thought I was going to go through my bloody roof and leave with the body and all, because I'd seen this video about some rainbow body and they disappeared. So I thought I was going to ascend with the body. Now, when you still think you're the body, it's quite frightening. So I remember I came back into my body with such a fright. So I never had that. I don't think the big crown chakra activation happened at that time. You see, once, I'm not sure. Oh, I can't even remember. There's so many things happen, like you're not sure. You see, if you have no yogic background teaching or studied any of this, this is where this body came from. Not a freaking clue what was going on. You were just scared shitless. I was actually too frightened to meditate again for a while. So I had resistance and fear to meditate because I thought, well, oh, fuck, holy shit, I don't want to go ascend now with the body. You think you're going to go to heaven in your body, you see. So I had to go look up what the hell was that about, because it was like rainbow light, and I mean, my physical body was going like a vortex, like a spinning top, like at a hell of a speed. It was like, what the hell? And you had no control. And you just, so I mean, it would have been one big, I suppose that would have solved a lot of problems, but anyway. No, it didn't happen, because we like, oh my God, we got frightened and we stopped the process. Anyway, but many processes and things happen. But you see, that I'm saying, you think you had a say, but then you realize now that it's actually God. God's dreaming this. What? It's like you. Can you imagine? It's like me, if I think about it. The thing in my dream, I know there's no ways those things I'm dreaming about or people have any say over what's going to happen in my dream, because my mind is the one who's creating it. So then you understand you have no freaking control or say whatsoever when you understand you are God dreaming this, this thing is your dream. It has no say of what's going to happen. So of course, so it was deluded to even think, well, okay, well, I should have done that. I can do this, Like, no. God is the one who's deciding what's happening. That's the real you is the one that's the real you. That's not here. Is actually creating everything. So you think this is going to, everything. So yes, literally you shouldn't be worried one bit, because if you realize you have no freaking control over anything in your life, what's going to happen or wherever, it's all detailed. It's God, which is you yourself anyway, deciding it all. So what, there's a puppet, what are you worrying about? You absolutely have no, because God will drive you, for not. That's what your instinct. When you get those no, don't do that. That's like if you ignore it, well, it doesn't go well, does it? You see, that's that shadow. That's why that split comes with a shadow. And you feel like you're in a tennis match, because if it's all, until that thing is severed, you've got the two sides, as you want to say, the energies, the light and the shadow of the light. So then the shadows, they're having a good battle, and you're in the middle. Dong, 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 dong. Let the shadow have some fun now a little bit. No, let the light over. She's like, oh man. Yeah, beam me up, Scotty. I'd say, wow, it's something else, you see. Anyway, there we are. It's a process, an unbelievable process. But then imagine, as I'm saying, it's an incredible experience. So this is one of God's dreams. I mean, this is probably one of the dreams of all dreams that God is having. This is be the top of the bucket list. I think out of all the dreams that you've dreamt, this awakening, this mass awakening dream is, God's biggest. This is grand finale, or the biggest play or the biggest concert. I think this is a big one. This is a big, so you're in a way very lucky and privileged to play whatever character you're playing. I'm just wow, I'm so grateful to be God. You are actually God experiencing this. That's the real person who's actually experiencing this through whatever. You just be glad that you're playing a nice role. You're like, oh, thank goodness I'm playing this for the awakening. I'm not playing something else, you see. Because God, you could be one of the other characters God's dreaming, which maybe is, choosing not such a positive, experience. You're like, oh, I'm very glad. So whatever, you've got to be thankful. I'm just that's what I'm saying. It's so wow. But the pain of separation, it becomes very intense. Very intense. All right. So, I shall love you. I think I'm going to shower. I was thinking about doing a live just now, maybe. Haven't done one for a long time. On, I don't know, I was thinking YouTube or TikTok, just to send love out, because I think there's a lot of love needed, energy need to go out on the planet. I don't watch any of it, as I say, because I can imagine what's going on out there, because this is the divide, splitting up in different directions. So of course the others are going to go in the opposite direction. There are other, as part of this dream, or the grand play. This is only just one dream. There's many going on. What you think are past, present, and future. This is part of the grand play. So there are those that are destined to go in the opposite direction from up. You know what I mean? So this is, all that's happening. I presume as they are playing out their roles of, opposite, not so good side, not so good things, which will, send them in the other direction. And then, when the time is right, the split will happen, and poof, as they say, the rapture or the flash or the solar flare, however you're going to perceive it, will be, and there we are, bunk. And they will be gone. Whichever side of the fence you're on, it's going to be like a split, or like a poof, I don't know. Wait and see. As I say, it's God's dream. God's play, God's everything. So yeah, I can see there'll be a lot of sadness, and that's why I say it's a difficult phase. But I say it's God. It's God the one who's actually having the difficult phase if you realize it. So in all aspects, it's just the most bizarre thing to try and navigate, because you have love, you have compassion, you kind of feel like the spare part. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm just the character here, which is just being dreamed. But yet, well, no, you're not actually. You see, you're actually God. So, so see, you're so used to identifying with this, but actually no. If this is God's dream, well, and there's only one, that means you are the person who's having the dream, actually. You see? Oh, man, that's not even good. I have love and compassion for all that you have to undergo this process, depending, as I say, depending how easy it's going to be for those or not. I don't know. And how, whatever experience they're going to have, and how much it will be severed and not severed. Some are completely severed, and they only are basically just a conduit. That's just the vessel, and God's the only one remaining. Others are remaining still as a personality, as a character, but then so it's so strange. Well, they're not completely severed. I don't know. You'll see if you listen to the different experiences. That's a strange thing. So some will experience that absolute, they only have the one consciousness. They know, they can see the truth. This is what happens, you do. But then you're still living in the Maya as such. You're still perceiving, you know what I mean? You're still in a body, the play still goes on, except you are, wait and see. You're going to go through this. And you will understand what, you will understand. It's, I don't know. Just, it all depends on the different character, on the process they're going to experience. Because it is God's dream and God's character. That's it. There we are. In God's grace, it will be like smooth and easy. I really hope for people, because it's people. Others of us, because there's only one. Whatever side you look at it, there's only one. In the Maya, out the Maya is one. That's it. So you love that, you know what I mean? So that love is, that's why I say it's such a paradox. Don't want to see, it's just any suffering on any account, anywhere. Doesn't matter. Even those playing the roles that are bad, you know who they are. That's God playing. Or in denial of itself, the shadow is, that's the shadow, God's, because I suppose there's got to be an opposite, so they're going to go in the opposite. They're destined to have the opposite role for now. So they're playing, the unpleasant side for now. Someone's got to do it in the game. Or whatever, I don't know. Who knows? Who are you to? Well, when you have the one mind and you're in that one, absolutely you can, because then you are speaking as the one and know as the one. But when you're still perceiving through an ego filter, you know not. You know what I mean? It hasn't been revealed to you, so how will you know? See? That's God. That's it. It's amazing, and you realize God's in control of absolutely everything. There's nothing in the stream that isn't God. What you call life, reality, that isn't God. Everything's God. As I said, it's not an easy process to undertake. So if you have no mind with it, oh, wonderful. There'll be no torment because there's nothing to even think about, worry about. It's like, woof, there we are. The mind won't even be, because the mind is the problem. No thought, no problem. Thought, the analytical mind, the conscious mind is the problem. Is the one who creates all the problems, and is the problem itself, is the Maya, is the creator of the whole thing. So if that thing just stops thinking, well, but that's also not up to you. If in this God's dream and play, it's going to be you. Oh, telling you what, the champagne, the flowers, the popcorn, the everything. Man, it is Christmas. It's like, yay! Then you hit the lucky jackpot dip. That'd be the happiest dream ever, Be like, oh my gosh, that's a blessing. That is such a blessing. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm blessed. Well, not you, but I mean, in the dream, you're like, this is my, best dream ever. If you are blessed by God to yourself, to have that thing severed, oh, wow. I mean, that is just, I can't think of anything more fantastic, more, that's it, than being the self again, completely, There could be nothing more. That's it. All right. Bye, guys.